What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tuesday's episode. First things first, Twitter page at Luke Talk Sports. Follow that, and you'll get to know when I'm posting, what I'm posting about, and if I live tweet some sporting events. I did tweet out on Sunday that the topic for today would be Wentz versus Foles and the Super Bowl recap. Now, what I meant by recap is I had one question for you guys. When Philadelphia scored their touchdown to go up 5 points late in the game with just over 2 minutes to go, if you are the head coach, do you go for 2 in that situation and try and get up 7, or if you miss, you're only at 5, or kick the extra point and go up for 6? My thought is you kick the extra point, go up 6, and make them make their extra point. Because if you go for 2 and you miss it, like they did, and if the Patriots would have went down and scored a touchdown, they wouldn't have had to kick the extra point because they would have been up 1 already. But if you kick the extra point there, you're up 6. Make them make their extra point, because you never really know. Because in that game, there were 3 missed kicks. So you never know if it's going in or not. You got to make them make their kick. But they went for 2. They didn't get it. Didn't matter. They stripped Tom Brady next possession and went up 8. Like I said, touching on that point, if I was them, I would have kicked the extra point. Now, thinking about it, you've been up 6. That field goal would have put you up 9, and it would have taken the game out of Brady's hands altogether. But as we know, game did not go Brady's way. Eagles 41-33. 41-33. So when I said Wentz versus Foles, I was not talking about who's going to start. I'm going to talk about who I would like on my team and where Foles is going. Now, I would like Wentz on my team as my starting quarterback, obviously. Once he gets healthy, once he rehabs, the Eagles are going to be Super Bowl contenders once again. No doubt in my mind they will make the playoffs next year. They'll be a top 3 seed, maybe the top seed again. But the topic of debate is going to be Nick Foles, and what do you do with Nick Foles? Now, this man just won you the Super Bowl, but I can almost guarantee it, Nick Foles would much rather go and play on a team than sit the bench on the Eagles again, because once Wentz is back, like I said, he's going to be the starter. So I had a couple notes, or mental notes, about where I think Nick Foles could end up. A few spots would be, what if Kansas City pulled something, getting rid of Alex Smith, then they go out and get Nick Foles. Now, I do realize that they just drafted a quarterback, but what if they keep him as the backup, let him get another year to mature, trade Foles for the year, till his contract's up. Another team I thought about was the Cleveland Browns. Now, they need a quarterback because Deshaun Kaiser is not an NFL caliber quarterback. I don't care how many times you tell me he looked good in college. He's not an NFL quarterback, because college is way different than the NFL. Another team I thought about was the Jets. He could possibly go to the Jets, but Kirk Cousins also could go to the Jets, so you never know about that. The place I would really, really like to see Nick Foles go would be Jacksonville, and I'll tell you why. Jacksonville's set on defense. Jacksonville's set with their run game. Jacksonville is set in their receiving core and their tight ends. Where they're not set at, quarterback. Like I've said it many times before, Blake Bortles is not the answer for Jacksonville. So if you bring in a quarterback like Nick Foles, who can throw the ball, he can make plays outside the pocket, I like your chances to go back to the playoffs, Jacksonville. I like your chances to make the AFC Championship again, Jacksonville. And I like your chances to make the Super Bowl if you go out and you get a quarterback. Now, I know people like Blake Bortles down in Jacksonville. I know the coaches like him, and I know the players like him, but you have to think big picture here. How many years is Blake Bortles going to be able to bank on Leonard Fournette to win games? Think about this. They beat the Steelers. Leonard Fournette, 3 touchdowns. They beat the Steelers earlier in the year. Leonard Fournette, 2 touchdowns. When Jacksonville plays good teams, let me just touch on this real quick. Against the Patriots, Leonard Fournette had a couple touchdowns. Let me touch on this. When you have a team like Jacksonville where you're set on defense, you're set on receivers, you're set on tight ends, you're set on backs, and you don't have a quarterback, I do not see you making the Super Bowl. Now, they could have done it this year. Had a few calls go their way. But if you go out and you get Nick Foles, you are automatically Super Bowl contenders in my mind. No doubt you will be able to beat the Steelers. You'll be able to beat the Patriots. You'll be able to beat any team in the AFC that tries to step in your way. Jacksonville, I truly, truly believe that they will be a good team if they can grab Nick Foles. Now, I don't know if Nick Foles would want to go to Jacksonville. I don't know if he has a choice. But if I was Jacksonville, I would be pushing heavy for Nick Foles right now. I don't care what you have to give up. As long as you don't give up Fournette, I don't care what you have to give up. You will give up anything for Nick Foles. The other team I said, Cleveland and Kansas City. Now, I doubt Kansas City is going to play the Nick Foles card and go out and get him. But Cleveland might. Cleveland, they might do that. They might get Nick Foles, take their number 1 overall draft pick, not draft another quarterback. Then they might draft a Saquon Barkley or somebody like that. And then they'll take their 4th pick, and they'll get the next best available guy. Could you imagine if in the draft, before the draft, you traded and you got Nick Foles, and then you tied the number 1 and the number 4 pick? You could be looking to be a decent team. Not a playoff team. You could be looking to be a decent team this year. 6 wins. 6-7 wins. I could see that if you Cleveland and you go out, you get Nick Foles, and you get 2 good players with your first 2 draft picks. Now, I would lose all faith in Cleveland. I'm not a Cleveland fan, but I would lose all faith in Cleveland if I was a Cleveland fan, if they went out and they drafted a quarterback before trying to get Nick Foles. Knowing Nick Foles is on the market, I would go out and get a quarterback who proves he can win before I get one that proves he can win in college. But Carson Wentz, like I said, an amazing athlete. He can make plays outside the pocket just like Nick Foles can. He does it better than Nick Foles can. He can throw. Now, Nick Foles did look pretty good this playoffs, but Carson Wentz also can throw. Carson Wentz can run better than Foles. But, like I said, Eagles going to start Wentz next year, unless something crazy happens. So, my top 3 teams for Nick Foles, I would love to see him go to Jacksonville. Like I said, I'm not a Jacksonville fan, I'm not a Cleveland fan. I'd love to see him go to Jacksonville, instantly make them playoff contenders for the next few years, Super Bowl contenders for the next few years. Cleveland would also be a very good spot, hoping that they could become a 6-7 win team. I'd really like to see that organization turned around. Kansas City, like I said, probably not going to happen. But to end this video, we're done talking about sports right now. I just want to talk about football season is now over. So the topics of these videos are going to be basketball, NCAA basketball, NBA basketball. March Madness is rolling around. Playoffs are coming up. So we're going to talk a lot of basketball on this channel now that the playoffs in college football and NFL football are now officially done. So with that being said, if you have any topic ideas for Thursday, please drop them in the comments. Drop them on Twitter when I post this video. Drop them anywhere you'd like. And I will see you on Thursday.